Good evening, I'm Matterall. Tonight on Talking in Stations, the EVE Online report. EVE Online has a sale for subscriptions, 15% across the board for Omega time. Check that out if you're looking for that. As a second announcement, CCP has also announced some packs that have Omega skills, skill points, and Plex, and other little things for you to have at different price ranges. There's the Ascendant Phoenix pack, the Blazing Phoenix pack, the Training Boost bundle, the Silver pack, the Bronze pack, Gold pack, Platinum pack, and the best skins of 2020. All these packs are available on the online store. And once again, in addition to that, 15% off Omega time if you're interested in increasing that. And it's across the board. So 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, and you're ready to go. Okay, let's dive into the news. World record fight acknowledged by Guinness Book. EVE broke its own record as the largest PvP fight in video games, as well as the largest concurrent players in one system, I believe. Yes, participants actually in that battle. So this was called the Fury at FWST TAC 8. That's the system where it happened in NPC Delve. It had technically the largest multiplayer video game battle ever with 8,825 players listed. That's not how many were in system at one time, but that's how many were involved in the fight. And most concurrent participants in a multiplayer video game PvP battle, 6,557 participants. CCP released a dev blog of Fury at FWST TAC 8 and noted that it was bigger than the siege of 9 TAC 4 RP2, which happened in 2018, and the bloodbath of BTAC RB5 RB in 2014. That's the well-known fight that was pivotal in changing the balance of power for a long time to come, where many, many Titans were destroyed. That's still technically the biggest fight in EVE Online's history as far as ISK damage done. I'm not sure that will change anytime soon. So not only did Guinness acknowledge it, but where is that? Here it is. There's the actual acknowledgement from the Guinness Book World Record as they talk about it. They talk about what EVE Online is known for, and they describe it to people that wouldn't understand it. And they go on to cite some of the other records, and there's our friend Katya Say, who sailed across all of the galaxy. So Guinness Book marking it in their website, which it probably is now. It's an official record. Congratulations to all the players involved in that fight. In other news, we have the EVE's Halloween Horrors. And this is the seasonal events that happen around Halloween, which is what we're doing now. And you have CCP putting out a number of things. There's like 6 different parts to this event here. There's a Crimson Harvest, where you kill Blood Raiders and mercenary NPCs for ISK and prizes. There's also the Crimson Harvest Abyssal Proving Grounds, which is basically an arena, like a gladiator arena for 4 people. And it's a frigate free-for-all. So you check that out. And you might remember that we said that Webs would be doing 100% more, 100% more range. We found that in the code. Well, that is probably for this seasonal event. We don't think it's going to be permanent. It's probably tied to this event. That's one of the things they highlight. Also, Trick or Treat. This is a great one for PvPers. 90% loot drop for PvPers on ships and structures. So if you want to go out and fight and earn a living doing it, this is the best time of the year to do it. Last year, they actually had it at 100%. And somehow that, I think that got manipulated a little bit. So they lowered it to 90%. And there you go. So PvP, 90% loot drops when you kill somebody else. Also for these EVE's Halloween of Horrors, You have the frightening savings on Omega, which we just talked about, 15% off. You have Howling Interdictors, the Balance Pass for 3 dictors out of 4, and Combat Scepters, making them faster when they overheat. We talked about that a few days ago, and that's already in the game. And then finally, the Malagrin Marshlight skins return, and those are, let's have a look at those actually.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite skins in the game. They're really neat.
Green pumpkins, right? They look like green evil pumpkins. So that's what's going on. So once again, let's go through that to make sure you know. It is Crimson Harvest. It's the seasonal event. Again, you fight NPCs, the Blood Raiders, who are kind of scary in this game. They're kind of like Reapers or whatever. The Abyssal Proving Grounds it's actually a free-for-all. That's over here somewhere. Oh, I guess I didn't list it. That's a free-for-all. Then you have the 90% PvP loot drops. You have the Omega sale, which is happening already now. And the Howling Interdictors, which came out already. And the Fly Marshlights skins, the Malagrin skins. So that is the festivities for this Halloween. Enjoy those. Also in the news, we have some war updates. The first Keepstar in Delve has been unanchored in W-KQPI, and that was unanchored by GSOL, which is the group that does a lot of the logistics for the Imperium, specifically Goon Swarm, but it also radiates out to all of the Imperium. This is an interesting development. We don't know what to make of it yet, but it is unanchored. Not sure if it's an accident, considering what's been happening with John Hartley and that Sotillo that got unanchored by one of his court mates.
Well, it's an anchoring. It's not unanchored, correct?
Yeah, but right. But I'm saying we're not sure why it's being unanchored.
Yeah.
And you're right. The other one wasn't unanchored. It was unplugged. And we can talk about that in just a second. We go deeper into the news. And finally, today, the Red Alliance appears to have lost, after their ambitious move to the Imperium, about 700 members. I think if you total up these corporations here, these have moved in the last few days, probably since the announcement, or the announcement was pending. So I thought it totaled up to about 700, but here it looks like it might be less than that. So if you look at these totals here, from what we've heard, these are not necessarily PvP corporations, and they might have wanted to stay out of the war, or actually, let's see where they moved. The biggest group, Zero Transversal, moved to Dead Game Society, but Golden Horse moved to French Connection, which is also affiliated with Goon Swarm, so they moved in with them. And then Shadow of X-Death, another 46 went there. So it looks like they went in different directions. Some are staying in the war. Okay, so that's your news update for today. And now let's go deeper into some of these stories with Mannix and Gregorian. How are you guys?
I'm doing fine. Looks like Gregorian had to step away, so I'm not sure if he'll be back or not.
Right, bad internet today. Okay. Well, first thing we should probably discuss is some of the player-driven stories here. And we'll start with that Keepstar in Delve. First of all, I just want to cite this joke. I thought it was pretty funny. The first comment, which is usually the one that gets the most upvotes, this one has 81, says, I guess that's the literal definition of moving the goalposts, which is kind of funny if you know American football with the goalposts, right? Because it's Keepstar looks like goalpost. So I got the joke.
So, yeah, definitely. This is a pretty good meme for sure. But going past that, I'm not sure. I haven't heard any official reply from the Imperium why they're unanchoring or starting to unanchor this Keepstar. They could be just moving it. They could be wanting to do anything, really. Maybe they thought there's a lot of assets in there. They wanted to purge or something. There's just I don't know.
Yeah, could be anything. Also, we should notice that this is one Keepstar out of a whole lot, like 50 Keepstars. So
Yeah,
or
there's a
more.
ton. It's
Yeah.
just no.
So if this was a sign of an actual evacuation, you might see a lot more leaving at one time. Although you never know. It's just a data point, and it is marking a first, right? Normally, Keepstars don't come down and delve.
Right, and it could be anything, any reason they're unanchoring this Keepstar. If I would Pappy Forces, I'd probably just let it unanchor without contest. You know, it's one less Keepstar you have to attack, possibly. So,
yeah.
But we'll see if there's any contesting the unanchoring of this. That'd be interesting to see if there is, or if they cancel the unanchoring. You see that a lot too. Some people, they'll start to unanchor something and they'll stop it and start it.
Well, Jalen brings up a good point, and that is that the Keepstars, come January, though, they definitely have some time. But come January, they're going to have to put cores in all these structures, not just Keepstars. And that's going to cost a pretty penny to do. So you might start seeing structures come down now in preparation not to have an overabundance of structures that need more expense that they don't really want to put in there. You might see a lot of consolidating of players' assets into certain structures, certain factories that they build in, certain markets that they put their stuff on, instead of just everywhere. So
yeah, so we're almost in November, and that happens like early January. So it's only little over a couple months away. So if you got a lot of structures starting now, doing that would be a great idea.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to do it all at the same time.
No.
So I thought that was a pretty big deal. Did you see anything out there that was a big deal today?
I looked around. The Guinness Book of World Record was kind of like, I guess, the main story today, as far as I'm concerned. That's that's really really cool. See,
it would be interesting if they broke somebody else's record, but they've really broken their own record 3 times in a row. In this space,
right?
CCP really dominates.
It'd be kind of cool if like Z-Kill or somebody kind of had that battle report, kind of pinned permanently to their website. The world record breaking battle report right here, or something. Who knows?
One of the things that CCP did that was really cool is they put out this dev blog, and I'll put that in the chat for you guys. And what's neat about this is it doesn't just tell you that it happened, it kind of tells you how we got here. How did we get here? And it breaks down really the history of the last 5 years, probably since 2016, where it kind of tells you how this war came to form and how this battle in this war became a flashpoint for a much bigger conflict that's going on. And then it goes on to quote some EVE Online players like Killa B, Clavas from Goonswarm, a headliner from Pandemic Legion, and a couple other players. So it has some FC interviews in there too. It's not interviews, but little quotes and stuff. So check out that. It gives you a nice catch me up on the war so far to celebrate the fury at FWST TAC 8. All right, let's see if there's
this war's not over yet either. So, this could be broken again in a month or two.
Actually, yeah. Although I want to say the nature of the war right now, it seems to be, this is from one perspective, just mine, that it seems to be in very much a grind phase. And that's not the most attractive thing. So you're not going to see big fights unless there's some kind of accident or bait trap that works. So what's happening now, I think a lot of, this bears out, I think, in some of the Reddit. I don't prefer Reddit for news because there's so much noise that it's hard for me to understand what's actually going on. But for this, I did see that there was a list of, and I'll find it now, bridges, Ansible X bridges that are in Delve that are coming down. So right now that seems to be what's going on. You're going to see a lot of things get destroyed that are infrastructure.
Yeah, they're in the solve warfare part of the attack on Delve right now. So until they start attacking Keepstars again or structures, we probably won't see any large battles or potentially anchor another Keepstar. I don't think they would, but yeah, I think it's always kind of been the Pappy's hope to be able to have the big one, quote unquote, on a friendly Keepstar.
Yeah, these might be, let's have a look here. I think most of these belong to Goon Swarm, except this one here belonged to Test. Yeah, we could check that out on Z Killboard too. Bring that up. Oh, this bear's looking into just now. Sorry for the diversion. Just got an over 10 billion kill on an interceptor, probably. Yeah, an Ares. So we're going to check out what it had. Not a corpse. Looks like some filaments. Yeah, it looks like it has some filaments. I'm not sure that's a proper kill mail for 10 billion. Normally that would be a lot less. You also have in Pakvin another kill. Yeah, these are all inflated because of Pakvin stuff, I think. I don't see anything in here. That's it right there. These filaments are overpriced, and so they're distorting the kill board, so let's not get too excited. Okay, never mind. But I did want to go to see the bridges, right? And Sib. Have a look. Jump gates. These are player-created jump gates. They're not your standard jump gates. As players put them up, players can take them down. So we can see here. We'll skip that one from Godzilla. Remember we talked to Godzilla? They're up north. Former red versus blue guys. So they put up a bridge and they got taken down. But that's not the region we're talking about. Let's look here at Esoteria as Test loses a bridge to Bastion. Bastion is kicking some butt in Esoteria. It's been happening for a while. I believe they've even defended a Fortizar there. We are not really covering that as well as we could. So we'll try to do a better job talking about the Bastion in Esoteria to see if they are, at this point, starting to distract Pappy in some way. But they seem to be the only thing going for the Imperium outside of Delve. Inside of Delve, you can see here. Oh, that's Aquarius, actually. Aquarius and period basis. A ton of bridges falling in successive days. Now, why is this important? Why are bridges so important?
Well, bridges allow for fleets and pilots to move around a lot faster than normal. This allows, their tests to be able to, the whole Pappy coalition really, to be able to move their ships around a lot faster than normal. I was in a discussion with a few people that were blaming the actual Axleplex jump bridges for lack of PvP content, just because the amount of distance this allows you to cover so fast, right? So it kind of works like the old jump fatigue timers before they had jump fatigue with capitals, but for subcaps. So it allows the subcaps to move around without getting fatigue super fast.
Yeah, also like Slam's point here where he says less choke points as well. And that's a very good point. This allows you to travel in less predictable ways. For instance, if a spy picks up a ping that says, hey, we need to assemble a fleet and we need to move it over to this area, normally if there are no player-made gates, you have to use the game's gates, and you know what direction they're going to go. There's only so many. But when you have player-owned gates in the same system, now you have different venues for travel.
Right.
So it's a little more interesting. Without the Titan Bridge, yeah, we're just speaking.
All right, no fatigue. So you don't get fatigue from jump. I think that's the most important part that people overlook a lot, is that this allows you to do that, to traverse large amounts of space without fatigue, and like the person in chat was saying, also bypass some choke points. I know a lot of people that have a lot of alliances that have to go to HiSec that live in Deep Null have these put up on to bypass systems that are normally camped heavily. So
Right. Those trade routes that are too dangerous, this will get you around some of those. So it's important. Moving around your region, the way that you want to move around, is really important. And to have that taken away from you starts to limit your options. And this has a psychological effect as well. Things are going to get tougher. Now you've got to travel using the normal gates, and now you know those are dangerous because they're going to be camped probably. And so the psychology of like this region that we used to own and rule and move around in is starting to get damaged. So there's a little bit of a psychological thing happening too.
Well, and economic as well, because a lot of players will be mining and riding and doing industry activity in systems that are far away from one of the local trade hubs and rely on these gates to get their goods safely back to that system with the jump only having to do one jump or so. And this was going to take that away too. So it's going to affect the players doing PvE content as well.
Let's have a look at iHubs. I don't know if they're listed as iHub or infrastructure hubs. Okay.
And I believe we covered a couple shows back. Dark Side was kind of doing this to Geminate. Although I believe
Breaking down Horde space.
Yeah. And I believe Horde mainly has moved out of Geminate as far as heavy riding and industrial. And from reports I've heard that they have some moons and stuff in Geminate, but basically that's the main thing they were using for, just because it was so easy to get dropped on in Geminate because it was so close to LowSec.
I just looked up infrastructure hubs and came up with recent activity 2015 because I saw Nulli Segunda in Soviet Union and I was like, that's Halloween. That's the Halloween war. What's happening here?
Here we are. So it's that time.
I think that's probably not the right.
No.
Is it called something else now? Oh, no. Well, we can't look. I'll have to figure out. I'll have to figure out what that's called. How about if I just put in hub? All right. Well, anyway, infrastructure hubs usually represent infrastructure, permission to build in systems. And when those are going down, that's also a problem. We do know that on .land, we'll go back to .land here. Look at Delve real quick, take an assessment of what's been going on. I think that two areas have fallen in Delve, but let's check it out firsthand. So we'll just go. Instead of sovereignty, well, we can look at sovereignty, but that's going to be a misleading picture. And instead, we want information, infrastructure hub ownership. And as you can see, I think it was HTAC-W here. This constellation is really completely taken over by Pappy at this point. That's one constellation, but now they're moving into what looks like Delve proper. You can see up here, there are five. It's a whole constellation looks, reinforced. So there's probably going to be some battles over those iHubs. And already here you have Brave taking over 2 and Test taking over 1. Actually, no, this whole constellation looks like it's taken over. So it's starting to happen. The iHubs are starting to break. The bridges are starting to get destroyed. And that breach of Delve with the Keepstar going into place was pretty significant. If you think that was only a week and a half ago, I think.
No, right. They're definitely making progress. This is actually about as fast as I was expecting them to go once they did get a foothold in Delve.
Yeah.
So if they keep up the current rate, it's still be another 2 or 3 weeks before they get to any close to 1DQ.
You could see why it was so important to keep that Keepstar from anchoring. They did it 4 times in a row, but the 5th time they
got a lot of flack for as much IS as they throw in it, those Keepstars. But yeah, definitely, it's extremely important to keep the Keepstar out of Delve NPC Delve area there.
Right.
So they might
So
not, they might have been able to save some ISK a little bit, but when you're fighting outnumbered like that, you gotta kind of throw more ISK on the other side at stuff.
yeah. Well, we'll find out more news about Delve and what's going on. The big news lately has been that Red Alliance switched sides. I believe, don't know how confirmed this is, but Matani was there to give them a speech. Oh, and let me make a correction while I'm here. MacTep is something that's said as an error. It's actually Master. So if you're a follower of Master, who is the leader of Solar Fleet, then Master is the correct way. He's the master. He's the leader of Solar Fleet. But if you want to make fun of Master, you call him MacTep. So apparently the Matani was a guest speaker at the RA conference or whatever, the State of the Alliance. I don't actually know if that was even a State of the Alliance, but it was some message that was a group message, and Matani was there just to talk to Red Alliance, and he referenced MacTep, and then he corrected himself and said Master, so he kind of had it both ways when he said that. Somebody pointed that out as an interesting, very delicate diplomatic move, because Red Alliance, a lot of people there don't actually like Master or MacTep from Solar Fleet. So interesting. And it's interesting, I didn't know that Matani made an appearance there in their comms when they were announcing that they were going to move over.
Well, yeah, they kind of fell out a little bit ago, and Red Alliance went and joined Fire with XIX. Looks like that didn't work out. Avili did put a post up saying that they had left Fire a few months back, which I was unaware of at the time either. And Legacy gave them, or Task gave them, a little couch to hang out on for a little bit, and looks like they used that time to make negotiations with Imperium to rejoin that coalition. I look like I have not confirmed this with PGL or anybody, but it looked like they were hoping Red Alliance could help them with Farah, which is another Russian alliance that was also attacking Esoteria, and has taken over a few systems there as well. And this hoping Red Alliance could help with that issue, since they were in the same time zone. But of course, that didn't work out because they ended up joining the Imperium. Every little bit helps, but at this point, how much this is going to help the cause of the Imperium, who knows? I think it's an overall good sign that they're able to bring somebody, a new alliance, into the coalition at this point, so that people still believe that the Imperium's okay, and they're going to be okay going forward.
All right. Well, I want to tell Hateless, our friend there, that we did cover the Halloween event, and we went through most of it. We didn't go through it in detail. If you want to do that, we can. I'm not sure it merits too much detail since it's really hasn't happened yet.
I think we went over all the key points, though.
The one thing we didn't do is cover the dates, but yeah, because these things don't all happen at once for the same amount of time. So
right, the dates are extremely important, and you gotta kind of remember what time zone you're in as well.
I think the big one is that the PvP is until November 10th, and then it stops. So November 10th is, and then
I believe the sale is only for 4 or 5 days as well. The 15% off.
Yeah, it ends on the 3rd. So
the 3rd, okay.
Yeah, but otherwise we did cover this pretty well, I thought. So that is the big event. One thing we didn't cover is what you actually do, and this is where Hateless might be great. Yeah, the 90% drop is on now, by the way, Hateless. Yeah. What is it? What is the Crimson Harvest, and how do you participate in it? Is something we would really like to know. All right, good. So we'll have Hateless come in and fill out the last 10 minutes of the show, talking about how you can get involved with Crimson Harvest, because more than anything, these things aren't just available to you right in front of you. You actually have to go looking for them. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a drag.
If you're going to have a war with or a battle with a lot of Titans with a 90% drop rate, is the time to have it. Right.
Welcome, Hateless.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
You're good.
Hello.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
you're good.
We can hear you.
Oh, is it working?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I see my voice beeping, but I don't hear you guys saying.
Are you not able to hear us?
Okay, now I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Oh, excellent.
So tell us, do you know anything about the Crimson Harvest?
So I actually got to play with it a little bit today, as did Torvald. I learned a bit watching Torvald's stream, and during Torvald's stream, they actually killed one of my mounts. And it was a 2.5 billion SMAC in every single module drop. So I got my entire Macarial back, except for the hull and rigs, of course, which was awesome. So the Halloween event is a good time to test new fits and a good time to learn burners and learn things that you're doing. Because when you do lose your ship, you have a really high chance of getting your stuff back, and that's really helpful. On the other note, I'm sure you guys have already touched on this quite a bit, but the suicide ganking is now 40% more profitable. So the standard 50% drop rate on modules right now on ships, it is currently 90%. So any module on a ship has a 90% chance of dropping when the ship goes kaboom, which is awesome for a lot of people. For a lot of reasons. And then the Crimson Harvest is a lot of fun. I've only had, like I said, I've only had a minute to participate in it today, a couple hours. I found that they do roughly 500 to 600 DPS, and you can run them in pretty much anything that you'd want to tank in. Tanks have a really strong signature radius modifier, which makes them really easy to run in. And because everything doesn't have the best tracking in the site, so you can mitigate by maneuvering a lot if you like orbit something or whatnot. But a battleship with a solid tank on it will do fine. Anything that you did the old emerging conduits from a couple years ago should be able to run these new Crimson Harvest events. Or a passive Draker Metal Snake will have a lot of fun. And the reward for doing them is fantastic. You get these things called Warclone blanks, as well as other goodies. But these Warclone blanks are being sold in or have buy orders in NPC Delve for 1 million ISK a piece, meaning that they have a value of 1 million ISK, and they drop anywhere from 20 per site to 160 from one site, and they take about 15 minutes to do. So there's a lot of ISK to be made during this event for people doing that. They also drop accelerators for skill training, and they drop hard shells and things that used to come out of the D&D store, as well as a bunch of skins. And then there's also a new blueprint that is for MTUs or mobile tractor units.
Mobile tractor unit
that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah,
which is really cool. So it's an exciting event, and then there's a whole low sec side to it. There's bigger sites in low sec, and then there's apparently some kind of super drop that can happen that I haven't seen or heard of yet. That's supposedly really awesome. It's mentioned in the patch notes, but we don't know what it is.
So Dunk Dinkle wants everyone to know that if you get a mobile Sanguine Harvest BPC, he's buying.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So just contract to Dunk.
That's the like super compact rundown of what I've discovered in the 2 hours that I got to stream today.
Are you going to do more streaming so people can watch you?
Not today. I only got like an hour and a half for lunch.
Yeah, I mean throughout this event.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. And I like that you told us how to get involved, but where do you find these things? How do you participate in the harvest?
If you've ever done high sec exploration or combat exploration or even riding in null sec, you open up your probe scanner and sites appear on your probe scanner. Sometimes they also appear on the overview, but once you warp to it, it'll definitely pop up on the overview. And you just warp to it and start playing in it. They do scram, they do web, and they do newt. So do be careful. The reason I lost to Macarial is because it got neuted out and slowly killed by something that had a scram on it.
So those three things,
terrible and painful.
Yeah, those three things are tackling mechanisms, which means they'll trap you and not let you leave. But will they kill you and pod you?
They didn't pod me, but just to be safe, I warped off really fast. Like as soon as I died, I was gone. Like I'm not going to sit around and find out. But I treat it like they do because newer NPCs have been known to pod. So that's something that you should definitely not be surprised by if it happens, and just warp off when you die. If you die, hopefully you don't die.
Now, are there any that's hard to catch?
So there's frigates. I managed to track the frigates without a prop mod or any additional tracking with the Macario with a single tracking computer. So I think I had about 6 or 7 tracking, and flying the Macario correctly, I was able to get hits every now and then. But again, they needed me out, so my tracking computer died. It's that hard of newts.
Tell us what you mean by flying the Macario correctly.
Correctly. So if you picture yourself in a car, you're driving down the freeway, and that one guy goes flying down the freeway at 60 miles an hour, or 60 miles an hour faster than you, that crazy guy. That guy is flying in the same direction as you, so he's effectively not going super fast. He's going a little bit faster than you. And then you picture on the other side of the freeway, this car coming against you. They're going opposite ways. Your tracking is less effective against the car going against you than the car that's kind of flying parallel to you.
In other words, you can hit the guy that you're going parallel with, but you're going to have a hard time hitting the guy that's flying at you at the same speed you're flying at him.
Yes. So if you do a little bit of piloting practice, guns can be made to apply very well with a little bit of maneuvering. Some of the NPC's web, so you can't quite do that, but a Macario was able to track slightly with a tracking computer to damage NPCs. It was slow and painful, but that tells me that they're pretty easy to track. And if you put a grapple and a web on a battleship, you'll be able to track with close range weapons without too much problem. I was one-shotting the frigates with a grapple web and my Chronos earlier today. So they're really easy to handle.
Okay. And you suggested ships. If you take a tanked up battleship, you should be pretty good.
I'd probably recommend Hyperion, Maelstrom, or something that has at least a 4 or 5 slot tank. You want to tank primarily EM and thermal. Some NPCs do omni damage, so you want to bring some kind of omni tanking as well. But EM's the big resistance that you want to tank, as everything fires lasers at you. There are some that do explosive and some that do kinetic and thermal damage. So you do want to be omni tanked. One side, I believe it's the Blood Raiders do almost purely EM thermal, and then the Amar guys do kind of the omni.
Now, would you need cap batteries or a passive tank?
I would recommend a cap battery if you're an active fit. You can passive tank, although if you're passive tanking, make sure that you are truly passive and you don't do the feeder healer fit, which I refer to the feeder healer as the Gila feeder as a healer that has an afterburner, 2 active hardeners on it, so 2 multi-spectrum hardeners, and then all passive tank. That is easily neutered out, so you do want to be careful of that, as your tank will get shut off and you're going to have a bad time.
I love that healer feeder name that you put to it. Awesome.
That's actually fun sweet. You get credit for that.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to tell us about the Halloween event?
That's really it, and it's a lot of fun. Jump in, try. You can take that standard passive Drake that we've been flying for the last 20 years and try it out. It's really cheap, and you can start trying it and go develop fits and have fun, guys. Really, that's what it's about.
And if you want to watch an expert do it, look for Hateless on his channel. Hateless, is it Hateless Gaming?
Yeah, it's Hateless_gaming.
Hateless_gaming.
Up in chat.
Yeah, put it in there.
Right there.
Check him out on Twitch when he streams. He's very good at doing this mission stuff, as you can tell by the way he so easily throws language around. I'm sorry I have to keep interrupting you to dumb it down for newer players, but I got to make sure they're included too.
No, you're fine. That's something that I always forget to do. So
thanks, Hateless. All right.
Yeah.
That's it for today. We'll be back again tomorrow as we look at the war and what CCP is putting out. Remember, this is pretty much Halloween, which is Vegas, which is when a lot of announcements come out. So that's why we're seeing so much stuff come out of EVE Online's creator, CCP. So we expect more announcements. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Hateless, thanks for stopping by. Mannix and Gregorian, our researcher. Love hearing from you guys. And thank you for coming and watching Talking in Stations. We'll be back again tomorrow at this time. Until then.
Fly fun, everybody.
Take care.